Alright, we're playing today Athelstan, Emperor of the World of Britain, custom campaign, which was released about 20 years ago by Stephen Richards, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll start with the prologue. Athelstan, Emperor of the World of Britain, Athelstan's early years. So let's start. Alright, they say cutscene. Alright, let's read the history section. The Romans withdrew from Britain early in the 5th century because they were needed back home to defend the crumbling center of the empire. Into this power vacuum came the Anglo-Saxons, a group of Germanic tribes who migrated and settled in the south and east of Britain from the mid-5th century. They slowly colonized northwards and westwards, pushing the native Celts to the fringes of Britain. Cornwall, Wales, and Scotland, and their dominance continued until 1066. Vikings, Battle of Stamford Bridge, etc. The Anglo-Saxons formed the earliest basis for the modern English nation, language and culture. The Anglo-Saxon areas eventually combined into kingdoms, and by 850 AD, the country had three competing kingdoms: Mercia, Northumbria, and Wessex. The three kingdoms were under sustained attack from Viking raids, which had plagued England for many years. In 865, however, the pattern changed with the arrival of the Great Army in East Anglia. Its plan was to occupy the country over many years, in other words, an invasion rather than a raid. By 875, the kingdoms of Mercia and Northumbria had succumbed, and by 877, so had most of Wessex. In 878, England was, to all intended purposes, no more than a few square miles in the Somerset marshes, from where Alfred the Great sent out signals that England had not yet been totally defeated. Alfred was able to defeat the Vikings at the Battle of Edington in 878. This was the first decisive step in a lengthy campaign to push back the frontier of Viking rule. After Edington, Alfred and the Viking Guthrum formally established the Danelaw, an area of England under the administrative control of the Vikings, roughly the area to the north of a line drawn between London and Chester. The Danelaw represented a consolidation of power for Alfred, and Guthrum's subsequent conversion to Christianity was also significant. Alfred's son Edward and his grandson Athelstan continued to force the Vikings back. This campaign tells the story of Athelstan. Alright, so we are continuing with the cutscene. England AD c. 895. In a certain village there was a shepherd's daughter, a girl of exquisite beauty. In vision she beheld a vision. The moon shone from her womb, and all of England was illuminated by that light. News of this reached the ears of a woman who had nursed the son of kings. She took her home and brought her up as daughter, bringing up this young maiden with costlier attire, more delicate food, and more elegant demeanor. One day Edward, future king, was riding through the village. Edward, this place looks familiar. I came here often as a boy, I'm sure of it. And who is that beautiful girl there? She's like a vision. Fate calls me to her. Edward, having become enamored of the young woman, nature took its course, and 9 months later, the mysterious beauty realized her dream when she brought forth Athelstan. Athelstan's grandfather, Alfred the Great, life. After Edward's death in 924 and the death in mysterious circumstances of his successor, his eldest son, Elfweird, after just 4 weeks on the throne, the Mercians called a great meeting at Tamworth and elected Athelstan king. However, it was not until the summer of 925, almost a year after his father's death, that he was finally accepted as king by the West Saxons as well, and anointed at the ceremony at Kingdom. Archbishop, step forward, Athelstan, so that I can anoint you our king. Right? So he became king. Athelstan was now a warrior of gods, and in a position to build on Alfred's heroic achievements. His backers would only be happy if he extended the kingdom and improved their wealth and status. Alright, this was the cutscene. And so the stage is set for Athelstan. It's a nice little story, but in fact, little is known of Athelstan's mother. By all accounts, she was not married to Edward, whose two later wives were acknowledged as queen. She, by contrast, was not. Right, so let's continue forward. The conquest begins. Alright, we'll play this moderate difficulty and let's start. Soon the action will begin. This scenario starts with a short prologue, a bit more sitting and watching, and then you take control of matters. Read the words which appear on the screen. Objectives will appear as you progress. There isn't much else to say, except read the hints. Alright. Alright, first we will read the history section. The Romans withdrew from Britain early in the 5th century because they were needed back home to defend the crumbling center of the empire. Into this power vacuum came the Anglo-Saxons, a group of Germanic tribes who migrated and settled in the south and east of Britain from the mid-5th century. They slowly colonized northwards and westwards, pushing the native Celts to the fringes of Britain, Cornwall, Wales, and Scotland, and their dominance continued until the 11th century. The Anglo-Saxons formed the earliest basis for the modern English nation, language and culture. The Anglo-Saxons areas eventually combined into kingdoms, and by 850 AD the country had three competing kingdoms: Mercia, Northumbria, and Wessex. The three kingdoms were under a sustained attack from Viking raids, which had plagued England for many years. In 865, however, the pattern changed with the arrival of the Great Army in East Anglia. Its plan was to occupy the country over many years, in other words, an invasion rather than a raid. By 875, the kingdoms of Mercia and Northumbria had succumbed, and by 877, so had most of Essex. In 878, England was, to all intents and purposes, no more than a few square miles in the summer-west marshes, from where Alfred the Great sent out signals that England had not yet been totally defeated. Alfred was able to defeat the Vikings at the Battle of Edington in 878. This was the first decisive step in a lengthy campaign to push back the frontier of Viking rule. After Edington, Alfred and the Viking Guthrum formally established the Danelaw, an area of England under the administrative control of the Vikings. Roughly the area to the north, a line drawn between London and Chester. The Danelaw represented a consolidation of power for Alfred, and Guthrum's subsequent conversion to Christianity was also significant. Alfred's son Edward and grandson Athelstan continued to force the Vikings back. This campaign tells the story of Athelstan. Alright, let's start. Athelstan thoughts turned first to York, which was very much a separate kingdom. In 919, it had been seized by a powerful force, Norse-Irish dynasty, the clan Ivar, who ruled there. They minted their own coins and had diplomatic arrangements with the kings of North Wales, Scotland, Cumbria, and Strathclyde. These kings were alarmed by the ascendancy of Alfred's line, and they feared Athelstan. Soon after his coronation, Athelstan met Sihtric, the Danish king of York, at Tamworth, and arranged the marriage of one of his sisters to Sihtric. Must be a blessed relief not to feel that perishing north wind on your face. Yes, indeed, Athelstan. You need to be tough to survive in the noble north. Looking at the woman. Anyway, I take it... This is... Idgaith. Yes. Come forward, Idgaith, and meet your husband-to-be. He has come a long way to see you. Soon, Sihtric, you'll almost be tied by blood. My, you're a fine-looking wench. We will have a lot of fun together, methinks. Sihtric, you realize that before you can marry Idgaith, you must renounce your hidden religion and receive the faith of a god. Oh yes, Athelstan, I'm aware of this. It will be worth it, I'm sure of it. We shall see, Sihtric, we shall see. I wonder if this is enough. However, moods changed quickly in those days, and not long afterwards Sihtric cast of the Blessed Maiden and restored the worship of idols, after a short while ended his life miserably as an apostate. Idgaith apparently attained her chastity and remained strong in good works to the end of her life, in facts and vigils and prayers and in zeal for almsgiving. In early 827, Sihtric died, and Athelstan quickly made clear his ambition. Now is the time for me to don the garb and sword given to me by Alfred on his deathbed. We must gather our forces and head north, seize York, and let the Northumbrians know who is their rightful king. Athelstan's army gradually assembled itself, ready for their long track north to claim the north for Athelstan. Right, man. For some time I've been casting my eye over the north of our land, or what should be our land, and it is now time that those who presume to rule there should be reminded of their rightful leader. Some of these northern rulers seem to think that they are above us Saxons and Mercians, but we must show them now that is not so, and that we should all be united people under one man. First we head for York, where the clan Ivar reign, and from there onward and upward. It will be cold and grim up there, but no doubt you will soon be warmed by events. We must move quickly. Alright. Let's go.
Mandatum? For the throne!
Sire, before you set off, I've heard that there are a few men in the woods just up ahead. Sire, before you set off, I've heard that there are a few men in the woods just up ahead to the west who can use their own bows in combat. They may be of use to you. Goodness, whatever will they think of next? This is interesting. They could be a useful weapon against the Danes. Men, let us march forward and I will find these men. Bring Athelstan to these strange bowmen so that he can talk to them. If Athelstan is killed, then you lose.
Yes, equivalent.
Alright.
Yes. Equivalent. Yay, yes, equivalent. Equivalent. Yes, yay. Equivalent.
Let's go to the north. Ah, this must be where those newfangled bowmen reside.
Equivalent. Yes, yay. Equivalent.
Ah, there they are. Wait a minute, they seem to be having curious discussion. I'll listen for a moment. I gotta say that philosophically you're spot on, but I can't help feeling that if a cow's got bigger udders, you must get more milk. I've always admired the purity of your logical viewpoint, but I just can't agree with you on that one. I heard a cow the size of a rabbit over near Hull, which had in it more than 800. Third bowman, noticing Athelstan. We appear to have an audience. To Athelstan. Here, if you want us for our newfangled archer skills, pick the vendor at the back. He handles the business side of things. Yes, I'm Pandora. Pleased to meet you. You have to forgive me standing so close, but I'm a bit short-sighted. I must say you look awfully familiar. Have we met somewhere? You may know me. I'm Athelstan, king of the West Saxons and Mercians, and soon to be king of all the land. We're heading north to drive out the Danes, and I would like you to join us, as we need good fighting men. Of course, if you didn't want to, then I will be compelled to get some of my men to escort you back to Tamworth prison. I dislike such barbarity, but what else could I do? So, what is it to be? Alright. Pandora, thinking and glancing at his comrades. Sounds like a rhetorical question. How can we resist such an offer? Give us a moment and we'll get or kit, and bigger bows.
Ready, sir.
Ready.
Good, a wise choice. Impressive looking bows. I look forward to seeing you in action. Let us march towards York.
Yay. Equivalent. Yay. Yay. Yes. Yay. Equivalent.
Alright. Head for York and kill all the yellow Clan Ivar military units you find there. You do not need to destroy any buildings. You should try to do this as quickly as you can, as once you reach the bridge, your food levels will begin to fall by 10 every 10 seconds. Alright, about 1 per second. You'll be able to use any remaining resources you have after defeating Clan Ivar to get fresh troops at York. For this reason, avoid destroying the barracks or archery range as you will eventually gain control of them. If you don't have any food left, you will not lose, but you will find it difficult to win the following battle. If Athelstan is killed, then you lose. Alright, so let's read hints. Athelstan is a useful fighter, so don't be afraid to use him, but keep an eye on his HPs. Look after your archers, you won't be able to recruit anymore. You can explore most of the map, and clicking on any of the allied villagers, San or Green, you encounter will elicit a comment which may be interesting, amusing, strange, insightful, or none of the above. It is worth doing because some of them will give you small amounts of food which will come in handy later. You can explore the west starting side of the river at your leisure, but I suggest you leave exploring the other side until you have defeated York, for reasons which will become apparent. There are differences between difficulty levels, so if you find it too hard, try playing on an easier level. If you are already playing on an easy, then perhaps you should consider if you're cut out of AoK at all. Alright. In this scenario, north is as it appears on the screen, i.e. towards the top corner. The introductory scene takes place at Tamworth in the English Midlands. Athelstan and his army start nearby. York is to the northeast, over the river. Bangor is northwest of York.
Mandatum. Equivalent. Mandatum. Mandatum. Ready. Yay. Yay. Equivalent.
Alright.
Ready. Yes. Equivalent. Yay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Let's
Ready. Yay. 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 Ready.
reorganize our troops.
Mandatum. Equivalent. Ready. Equivalent. Yay. Yes. 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 Ready. Yes. Yes. Yay. Equivalent.
Let's take
Ready.
the ranged units
Ready.
behind
Equivalent. Equivalent.
and melee units in front.
Yes.
Alright.
Equivalent. Ready. Equivalent. Equivalent. Ready. Equivalent. Mandatum. Ready. 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 Yes.
Alright,
Yes.
we'll put
Equivalent.
Athelstan back.
Yes. Yes. Equivalent. Fight. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Equivalent.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes. Yes. Equivalent. Yeah. Yay. Yeah. Equivalent.
Do you want some, eh? Cause if you want some, I'll give you here. Here, you're in luck. I've got some in my bucket. Ramages around. Here, you're in luck. I've got some in my bucket. Ramages around. Oh bugger, I left it over by the river. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in jiffy. Man calling out as he walks away. Don't forget to take a look at my treehouse yonder behind the sign. Took me 4 years to make that. My trees love living in it, so they're happy. Alright.
Equivalent. Yeah. Equivalent. Equivalent. Yay. Equivalent.
Alright.
Yes. Yes. Equivalent.
Let's go for the bridge.
Yes. 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 Equivalent. Yes. 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 Yeah. Yay. Mandatum.
East over the river, York in the north, northwest Atland, Arboretum, southwest Tamworth and the south.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Equivalent. Yes. Yay. Yes. Yay. Yes. Equivalent. Yes. Yay. Yes, equivalent. Yeah, yes,
Let's
equivalent.
scout a little bit. I've heard York is filled with people. 30,000 Danes I've heard, and I've heard some of the Vikings are Christian and they marry English people. Can you believe it? Yes, I can.
Yeah, equivalent. Yes,
Let's
yeah.
see if there is anything interesting.
Yes, yes, equivalent. Yeah, yes. Yes, yes, yeah. Yes, equivalent. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Equivalent.
Small boat.
Equivalent. Yes, equivalent. Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. Yes, equivalent. Yeah, yes.
You must be a little lost, poor dears. I can't remember the last time someone came this way. This road only really leads to over there, pointing further down the road. Anyway, I must go now and wash my pet, dear Ethel,
Yes, yeah.
shouting over her shoulder. Well, of course, there is Arboretum down there. It's all very well if you
Yeah.
like trees, otherwise
Yeah,
very
yes, yeah.
dull.
Equivalent. Yes, yes, equivalent. Yes, 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 yes.
Alright, so
Equivalent.
let's get back to the bridge. Alright, save our game. Alright guys, this should be it, and I'll see you next time.